Hi everyone, this is Anna Finch from Finch Press Publishing. I hope everyone's had a good day. Now, today's video is a review for a tool that writers often use. Now, I'm actually reviewing Google Docs. So, if you watched one of my previous videos, I actually looked at the software Shakespeare, which was a free writing software similar to Scrivener. So lately I have been using Google Docs more than Shakespeare, partly because I have been moving around and I've been doing most of my writing outside of home, so I've been doing writing in my free time at work, so lunch breaks, recess breaks. I've been doing writing at the library. So the reason why I've used Google Docs is because Shakespeare, at least with the free version, you can't actually sync multiple devices. So in order to write on my Mac, which is what I use to record, or my PC laptop, I need to pay the Pro version, which I am not willing to do because it's a monthly subscription and I don't know if it's in US or Australian dollars. And considering how the Australian dollar has been lately, it's going to be a lot more than what it would be normally. So what I've been doing is using Google Docs. I'm connected to my author Google account, which allows me to I can just log in on my Google account on my laptop at work, my Mac, my PC, a library computer, my phone, wherever, and I can basically just go onto Google Drive and basically click on the document that I'm using. Now this could be like a full Word document, or it could just be like a chapter document, and I can just work on that wherever I am. And when I get home, I can just transfer what I've written into the Shakespeare file, so that when I do go to export the document or where I need to compile it, it's all already in the Shakespeare program. So I just press export and it will actually compile it for me into one Word document. So I don't have to work out how to create a thing, and if I'm doing it chapter by chapter, then I can just copy whatever I got in there, put it in the Shakespeare program when I'm done, compile it all together, rather than having to paste it all into one document and trying to find where a certain chapter or scene is. I can literally just upload that to Shakespeare, whatever I've done in Google Docs, and it means that when I need to look up any notes, I can go on my laptop, my old laptop that's built like a brick, and go look at the chapters, just click on the little sidebar and look at the individual chapters, and it's all kept in the one folder. Another reason is Google Docs has better software when it comes to grammar and spell check than Microsoft Word, despite the fact they're both Word programs. But Google Docs picks up on the use of tenses. So this is something that Grammarly doesn't do. So when I change a word in a sentence from present into the past tense that it's supposed to be, it will actually underline words in the sentence that should be in past tense as well. And I can literally just click on it and pick the word that I want to change it to, which means I can edit it quicker on Google Docs than I could on Microsoft Word or on Shakespeare. Because with Shakespeare, I can't use Grammarly, which is another writing software that I have reviewed. I can't use Grammarly on there. I've only recently been able to use Grammarly on Google Docs, and even that's still the beta version. And the Australian English on the Grammarly thing isn't very accurate. At some points it says to put a hyphen between two words, when I know for a fact we don't use a hyphen between those two words to join them together. They're two separate words. We don't use that for some words, and it still keeps on saying, yep, add the hyphen, add the hyphen, add the hyphen, when I know it's not grammatically correct for Australian English, which is a problem, because Australian English, it is very different to British or American English the grammar rules are more similar to the British version, but the actual language, so the writing part, is actually a mix of British English and American. So we use words that are in American English in Australian English. So the software Grammarly's, it's not easy to pick up that sort of stuff, but with Google Docs, I'm just going to focus on Google Docs for now. With Google Docs, I can edit quicker, whether it's chapter by chapter into separate documents, or whether it's a whole manuscript, because I can literally have the outline on the side and just click on the particular chapter that I want to focus on, rather than having to scroll down like in my Microsoft Word, because I have the 2003 version of Microsoft Word on my laptop, my PC, which is ancient. So with Google Docs, I've got access to that. I have access to, I can change tenses. The grammar checker for Google Docs for Australian English is actually better than Grammarly, I've found. Well, Grammarly picks up more issues regarding the grammar and sentence structure and things like that. The spelling, things like tenses, are better with Google Docs. And just the overall quality of the program is a lot better than Microsoft Word. Now, I'm trying to find, I can format my text when I've got my full manuscript in Google Docs. I can quickly format my text, make sure all the first lines are hanging. I can do whatever indents I want. I can add headers and footers. I can add table of contents, which you can do in Microsoft Word. But I've found, and I can also, another thing I found is I can actually see my word count as I'm writing, and I can review suggested edits relatively quickly. Let's see if I can go into preferences. So I can go into preferences in Google Docs. So if I go to tools, click on preferences, I got a list of things I can put in. So I can actually do automatic substitution. So I can say, because the name of the city in my story, Zorabella, 2 words with a hyphen in the middle, it takes longer to write. Whereas if I put ZB in, replace ZB with Zorabella, it basically means that I don't have to write the full thing. Google will see those 2 words, automatically substitute. Now, there are issues with that. Let's see if I can do. Now, there are issues with that because if, for example, there are multiple things that start with the same 3 letters. Like, I'll give a random example. Say the word California, and you have the name of the person, say Caroline. If you put under preferences, you put CA and you put replace with, so you replace CA, you put under replace, you put CA, and then under the with box you put Caroline. Whenever you type CA, it will automatically change to Caroline. But the problem is, if you've got a word that starts with those same letters that you're using, then it will still replace it with the word that you don't want used. So say you want to write California instead of Caroline, as soon as you put CA, it will automatically change it. Obviously you can go back and rewrite it so it's a different one, but again, there's that. There are a whole range of other tools and add-ons that you can get for Google Docs. See if I can find. So with Google Docs, you can use things like add-ons. So there's a program with accents. So if you're using more than one language, so some languages like French, Portuguese, Spanish, they use little accents, which are basically lines that represent, sorry, just trying to get the light back in there, that represent certain sounds or pronunciations. For example, I speak Spanish, so in Spanish you have the letter N, so like it's written in English, and you've got ñ, which is an N with a little wave above it, which changes the way the letter is pronounced. So for example, the word niño in Spanish, N-I, ñ, so the N with a little wave on top and an O. The ñ, or the wave above the N, tells you that you're pronouncing it as a yo sound, niño, rather than nino, which is a name. A whole range of languages use that. Corazón doesn't use that, but there's a whole range of languages that use those sort of symbols. So having the add-on for the accents may work if you need that. There is other writing or grammar check programs on there. There's a Plagiarism Checker as well that you can add on, which is really good for non-fiction text, especially if you can't afford more expensive plagiarism programs. From what I've seen of it, it highlights things that are similar, and it tells you the percentage of similarity between your work and someone else's. So similar to Turnitin, if you've used that program, it's so Turnitin is a program that universities generally use. You upload your work and it analyzes it and identifies similarities between your work and other people's from a wide database. So it uses that, which is good for fiction and non-fiction, but for those non-fiction writers, that's an add-on I recommend getting. At the very least, when you're doing the initial drafts, obviously you would have to pay someone to edit your work and to double check things like facts and plagiarism, but if you can't afford doing that, you can use that. There are a whole range of other add-ons that you can use. There's actually one which you can translate sentences into another language. So in my novel Voiceless, like all the names for the characters are Hebrew or Greek, because of the location of where this city Zorabella was in ancient times, because it bordered on where it was in the Mediterranean. It's around about in the Mediterranean Sea, close to both Greece, relatively close to Greece, and Africa, Middle East, in the areas. So the Hebrew language would be used for spells in the story. And if I write a sentence, because I don't speak Hebrew, I speak Spanish and English, so I add on that program, I type in the sentence I want in English, and it will translate it into whatever language I want, so in Hebrew. But the thing is, with languages like Hebrew, the alphabet is a bit different to us, a bit different to English. So the way they write words out is different to English. So that would be a problem. So I would have to try and write it phonetically, so how it's pronounced, rather than using the Hebrew alphabet, which can be tricky because I don't speak it, and Google Translate's not always accurate. So I would use that just like for your basic draft, and then get someone who speaks the language to look over and say, hey, does this sound accurate, before you put it in your book. There are a whole range of other ones. But the main pluses for Google Docs are the affordability, because it's completely free. You just need a Google account, which is free to make and easy to make, and you have a lot of storage space as well. So it's free, so it's affordable for anyone to use. It's easy to use. There's a quick learning curve. There's a pretty quick learning curve. Even people who are not really that great with technology could use it effectively. It's easy to navigate. It's easier to format than Microsoft Word. Now, if you don't have a formatting software like Vellum, or if you don't have the knowledge on how to format, I suggest hiring someone for formatting. You have a whole range of other tools available to you through add-ons, which make it a fantastic tool for a writer. Personally, I would recommend Google Docs over Shakespeare, simply because Google Docs has more features available that are completely free. You don't need to subscribe to anything to get more features, which is a problem with Shakespeare. If you want access to these other features, you need to pay a monthly subscription, which I don't plan on doing. So you have a lot of things in one particular program, and if you've got access to Google Docs, you got access to the other Google programs, like Excel and PowerPoint, so you can use other things like that. So yeah, I highly recommend Google Docs as a tool for a writer, especially for a beginning writer. If you can't afford or don't want to fork out money for better programs for writers in that they can compile documents. But Google Docs is something I recommend because it's more versatile and affordable than other writing software. Anyway, that's it from me. If you like this video, press the like button down below. If you want to be notified of when I upload, hit the subscribe button. Thank you.